All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving deep into Snowflake's big play for enterprise AI. It's a whole suite of tools called Cortex, and the big idea here, it's all about how you can build, manage, and scale AI without ever letting your data leave the building. Let's get into it.
So this question right here, it really gets to the heart of what Snowflake is doing with Cortex. Think about it. For years, the model has been you take your valuable, super sensitive data and you ship it off to some external API. Well, Cortex completely flips that script. It brings the AI to your data. Everything stays inside Snowflake's secure, governed environment. And honestly, that's a massive shift in how we think about AI in the enterprise.
Okay, so how do they actually pull this off? Well, it all starts with what I like to call the foundational AI toolkit. These are kind of like the power tools or Cortex. And the very first tool we've got to get our heads around is a concept that's just everywhere in modern AI. I'm talking about vector embeddings.
So what in the world is a vector embedding? Well, the easiest way to think about it is like a universal translator, but for data. It takes all that messy, unstructured stuff, like text from an email or a document, and it turns it into a list of numbers, a vector, that an algorithm can actually work with. And this is the magic part. It's not just keyword matching. No. It captures the meaning, the context, so the computer understands that resolved support case and customer issue fixed basically mean the same thing, even though the words are totally different. It's a game changer.
Okay, so that's the theory, but here's where it gets really practical and frankly, pretty cool. Snowflake takes all that power and wraps it up into simple SQL functions. I mean, look at this list. You've got AI Complete for just generating text or even images. You need to translate something? Boom, AI Translate. Want to know if your customers are happy or mad? There's AI Sentiment. The point is, this makes these incredibly powerful AI tasks available to literally anyone who knows how to write a basic SQL query. You don't have to be a data scientist anymore.
And look, you've got options here. This isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. Snowflake gives you a bunch of different embedding models, each one tailored for a specific job. So, whether you're just dealing with English text or you need something that can handle multiple languages for your global data, there's a model ready to go.
All right, so we've got our basic building blocks. But now, how do we actually use them to ask questions of all the different kinds of data that a real company has? The neat, structured tables and the messy, unstructured documents. Well, Snowflake has two specialized services for that exact problem.
And this is super important. You got to know which tool to use for which job. It's pretty straightforward. On one side, you've got Cortex Analyst. Think of this as your expert for structured data. You ask it a question in plain English, like, what were our top 10 products last quarter? And poof, it writes the SQL for you. Then on the other side, you have Cortex Search. This is for all your unstructured stuff, your documents, your PDFs. It's a semantic search engine that finds the most relevant snippets of text to feed to an LLM. That whole process, by the way, is called Retrieval-Augmented Generation, or RAG. It's what helps the models give you answers that are actually based on your company's data.
Okay, but what happens when a single question is more complicated? What if you need to look at a structured sales report and sift through an unstructured legal contract to get the answer? That's where you need an orchestrator, right? A conductor for this AI orchestra. And that's exactly what the Cortex agent is.
Think of the Cortex agent as a super smart project manager. It's got a clear workflow. First, it gets your request and it makes a plan, breaking it down into smaller subtasks. Then, it actually uses the tools we just talked about. Maybe it calls Cortex Analyst to query a table, then Cortex Search to look through some documents. And this next step, reflection, is absolutely key. It looks at the results it got back and decides, okay, do I have enough to answer the question, or do I need to do something else? And finally, once it's deployed, you can monitor the whole thing, track how it's doing, and tweak it to make it better over time. And remember, all of this happens securely inside Snowflake.
So all that technical stuff is happening under the hood. Now let's talk about the part people actually see. We're moving up to the application layer, the conversational interface that brings all this power to, well, everyone in the business, not just the tech folks.
And this is really the endgame. Snowflake Intelligence is that user-friendly app on top of everything. It's where your business users can just ask questions in plain English. And behind the scenes, it's using those Cortex agents we talked about to go find the answers from all your data. The best part? The answers are trustworthy because you can actually trace them right back to the original source data. No more black boxes.
And this isn't some abstract concept that only exists inside the Snowflake platform. No, it plugs right into the tools your teams are already using every single day. I mean, check this out. There's a Microsoft Teams integration so people can get these powerful insights from their data without ever having to leave their Teams chat. That's huge.
Okay, so this is all really powerful and exciting. But for any real business, there's always the big question. How do we control costs and make sure this is all secure? Powerful tools need powerful guardrails. And the good news is, Snowflake has built those right into the platform.
When it comes to spending, Snowflake gives you direct control with something called resource budgets. And it's a pretty simple but effective process. You just create a tag to identify our AI services, apply that tag, and then set a monthly spending limit. And then you can configure actions. For example, you can tell it to send you an email when you hit 80% of your budget, or you can even have it automatically shut off access if the budget is maxed out. Now, this is a really important heads up. You need to know how the system works. As you can see here, there's a bit of a delay, a latency in the system. It can take up to 8 hours for that budget enforcement to actually kick in. So what does that mean for you? It means you have to plan your alerts and your thresholds carefully. You want to give yourself a nice buffer so you can react before you blow past your hard spending limit.
And what about security? Well, this is the easy part. It all just plugs right into the role-based access controls you're probably already using in Snowflake. You manage she gets to use these AI features with standard database roles, like snowflake.cortex_user. So all your existing governance policies just work. It's seamless. And that brings us right back to where we started, to the most critical principle of all, which is summed up perfectly in this quote. Snowflake's entire AI strategy is built on a foundation of security and data privacy. Let me be really clear. Your data stays put. The models run inside your security bubble. And your data is never, ever used to train models for other customers, period.
So there you have it. We've gone all the way from these foundational SQL functions right up to full-blown conversational agents that can talk to your business users. What Snowflake has built here is a really comprehensive, really secure ecosystem for bringing AI directly to your enterprise data. It's a whole new way of working. So the only real question left is the one right here. What are you going to ask first?